I think the word sometimes revolution is used too much, but I'm going to use it here. What we are exhibiting right now, what we are seeing, and what is being exhibited, and specifically involving, first and foremost, Ms. Candace and Mr. Tucker, is something that I haven't seen in a long time. Now, I know there's some going to be some litmus test person. Now, hang on now. Tucker said one time something funny about Charlie and he done pert near. Stop it. There's always going to be some naysayers. Now, hang on a minute. Listen, we have been absolutely mired in torpor, intellectual and otherwise. And for the first time in a long time, I see some good news here. So I'm going to take it because these two folks have everybody freaking out. Do you understand what I'm saying? Freaking out. And that's what it's about. So tonight we're going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about a subject right off the bat that you're going to say, what? Oh, yes, yes. Because I'm acting kind of crazy. I'm in fast day today. I'm at the end of the day and I'm getting a little crazy, dropping down there. Then eating yesterday was going to be about 36 hours by the time I eat what you call your 18-6. That's what I do, see? I'm an 18-6er. That's what I do. That's what I like to do. I appreciate that. I do the best that way. Eat like crazy, but just for 6 hours. Now, hang on now. Before we begin, I want you to sit back, grab a piece of crumb cake, get situated, get yourself some sweet tea, and sit back. Because we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have more fun than a tick on a horse's dick. That's for damn sure. But first, my friends, let me remind you that we've got some very important words from our sponsor. Well, midterm elections are coming. Control of Congress is on the line. And if there's one thing financial markets hate, it's uncertainty. Between now and election day, we could see serious volatility in the markets and the economy. And you owe it to yourself and your family to have a plan. And that's where Noble Gold Investments comes in. Listen to me. For more than a decade, Noble Gold Investments has helped Americans like you diversify with physical gold and silver. They make the process absolutely simple, straightforward, and secure. And for America's 250th, Noble Gold is celebrating by sending you a free 10-ounce U.S. independent silver bar when you open a new qualified account. Just mention Lionel. That's Lionel. Call 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347. Or visit the special Noble Gold Investments Lionel link below. Election day is coming. Don't let it arrive without a plan. And remember, there's always a risk of investment and there's no guarantee of any kind. Indeed, my friends, indeed, there is never any guarantee of anything in life. Tendencies, yes. Likelihood, yes. Probabilities, yes. But no guarantees. That's for daggum sure, I tell you what. Now, I got a couple of things to tell you. First of all, as I told you, I'm just want to take it a little bit easy tonight. I don't want to go too hard. I want to welcome, especially some newcomers. If there's anybody new here, please let us know you're new, so we can put you at the front of the tent here, give you some crumb cake and some sweet tea. Before I get in with the hard stuff, may I suggest something to you that if you don't know this, you probably do, but if you don't know it, it'll change your life. As I said, I do a week. I like to do a good 36-hour fast. Just water, coffee, whatever it is. It does something to you. It does something to you. It just, you have to do it. You just have to do it. So this is the end of my day today. And over the week, well, yesterday, we went out to New Jersey. Now, New Jersey, when you talk about Jersey, you think about the Sopranos, you think about, I don't know, Springsteen or Bon Jovi. It is the farm country of the world. Everything from peaches to corn to, they've got apples, they've got everything. And I went out and I bought about 20 of these things. Now, this is what I want to show you. I like that bicolor. I don't care for that. Yellow's good, but bicolor is pretty sweet. Got a bigger, heftier kernel. I don't like those little tiny niblets. Don't care for them. This is what I buy. Please don't shuck the corn. Don't take this off. Why people do this, I have no earthly idea. Don't do that. Just get it like this. Is it feeling good and thick? There you go. Take it at home. Throw it in your satchel. That's it. Don't open things and just don't do this. Don't. Plus, it makes a mess. And why people want to husk? When I show you this, you're not going to want to ever take it out of this. This is the perfect means by which to cook it. Now, I want you to do me a favor. And just, I mean, I could do the cutting, but you're smart. You've got the stalk end, this part. This is where it was connected. And then you got this silk end. You got that right? You got the skinny end and you got the thick end. You got that one? I want you to throw this in. Sometimes you might have to cut this part off here just to make it fit in your microwave. Microwaves are great. If you've got a barbecue, great. If you got a grill, great. Microwave will do fine. I like 5 minutes. Some people say 3. Some people say 4. 5 minutes does the trick, especially if you got a good hefty piece like this. Throw it in each one, 5 minutes. Multiples, I don't know, 7, 8, do the math. But let's just start with this. Take this, put it in your microwave for 5 minutes. Let it go around. You got it? Take it out, but be careful. It's hot because inside it's been steaming beautifully. I mean, it's perfect. And I want you to cut it right here. How far down the end? I don't know. You'll figure it out. Not too near here, but maybe a little bit in. And then when you cut this off, it'll be flat. And then you go to this end and you just squeeze it. And this just pooches out, scoots out, and it is absolutely silk-free. So I got it 5 minutes, cut it here towards the end with the stalk, and then you take this end and you squeeze it, and it just comes right out. Oh, then you can do whatever you want with it. You want to grill it up, that's fine, but it's perfect. It is perfect. You will never get anything cut or shucked or whatever it is. It is so, oh my God. Tomatoes too, got those. I like that in the paper bag thing. Don't kid yourself, in the paper bag. What a way to kind of, they get deeper and redder and they kind of ripen and oh my God. Then they got I don't care for the heirlooms. I like plain old red tomatoes. Jersey tomatoes. They were a breed. They were started, I don't know, Rutgers or what year they did it. They are superb. You got it? This is it. That's all. One of life's little, before we get to the heavy stuff, corn. Oh my God. Absolutely. And then towards the end, when it's probably good until right around the first frost, they don't last forever, but oh my God. Okay. I wanted to share that with you because I've been thinking a lot about food as I normally get. Now, a couple of things here. I've been around some revolutions for a while. I remember in the time of the Vietnam in the 60s, and I was a youngin', but I was, 11, 12 years old. I was pretty near a teenager, so I remember it. And the music and all of that. And I remember how everything changed. Politics changed drastically. And left and right, it was the last time that the left had real purpose. They were anti-war. They were peace. They were wonderful. It was a revolution. The music that came about, it was incredible. People would try to combine political ideology with music, and you had new people. And then there was a time when we had the revolution. Are you old enough to remember when Jesus Christ Superstar and Godspell? Oh my God. It was everybody. It was this new thing about not born again, but the hippies took to the Bible. It was really something. I remember going to, I knew a lot of hippies and hippie types, kind of communal things. And I went one time, and it was the best group of people, loved the spirit of the evangelical, kind of the communal spirit. When I worked right out of college, I worked for a U.S. senator, and I got to go to a lot of black churches, AMEs, and they were one of African-American, Methodist, Episcopal, or, oh my God, loved it. And the food, greatest people. It was, I used to tell people, have you ever spent a Sunday afternoon at a black church? They're looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about? Unbelievable. Beautiful people, welcome. So anyway, that was kind of a revolution. And then later on, the Rush Limbaugh changed, oh my God, put conservatism back on the map again, changed radio, saved radio. He and, to be fair, Howard Stern. That was a bit of a revolution. All of a sudden, there were conservatives, and it was a different world then. Fox News, revolutionized things. Unbelievable. You got where things are going? Donald Trump revolutionized. He did. He brought a populism that I don't think anybody saw. Bill Clinton to an extent, but not like Trump. And now recently, it all changed again. And it happened, I think, and I'm going to say this, October the 7th. Now, lest you think people say, what do you have against Israel? It's not about that. It's what happened. And if you don't have the guts or the wherewithal or the mental consistency to recognize what happened, there's no hope for you. If you don't see that's what happened, 10-7, 9-10 was Charlie, 9/11, interestingly enough, the day before. That's coming up, 25th anniversary this year. These were moments that changed. And then out of this maelstrom, out of this, what do you want to call it? I don't know what you want to call it. This activity, the collision, the smoke, came a couple of people, and two in particular. Tucker, who pulled away from, he was double-crossed, started to go as close to, remember, Alex Jones, I'm telling you right now, was the poll star. He's not perfect. People always love to say some things about him. I'm not voting to canonize him. He was also revolutionary. He was the first person on the map. Most of what we're saying today, he did first. Glenn Beck tried to catch on. Glenn Beck didn't really land anywhere. He doesn't know what he wants to be when he grows up. Glenn Beck's in it for this. Beck's in for the bucks. For this. Not money, this. It's an old joke. Others came along, but Tucker really, if you listen to what he's talking about now, he has espoused, and he's had on Alex, a new kind of a way of thinking of, deep state and shadow government and just mind control and MK Ultra and stuff that we find so fascinating because we're smart. And we enjoy this. Okay, so that's that. Now, of that, Tucker then broke away from Fox News, and he broke off, he with his great brother Buckley, Uncle Buck, started a movement. And then as of late, getting the likes of Joe Candace, Thomas Massey, and MTG and others, and talking about a third party. We'll see what happens. This has gotten more attention than anything you can imagine. Now, on the other side of this is Candace Owens. Candace Owens has done something. She does things at her own speed. Her own speed, her own. She'll talk about, she'll say, I'm not done with Charlie. I'm not done with the Tyler case. I'm not done with TPUSA. I'm not done with that. I'll let you know when I'm done. Nobody says to her, hey, come on, Candace, let's move it along here. No. She does what she wants, and Tucker does as well. But both of them represent what amounts to today a revolution. And I want you to understand that. A revolution. This is scaring the hell out of people. You know this woman, Brandy Bednazowski, or whatever her name is? I don't know what this name is, from MS Now. Doesn't know what to do. Trying desperately. We talked about it today. I know the conspiracy theory. I think I went through that. I think I went through that exhaustively. But I want you to understand, to stand up, grab the hand of your neighbor next to you and realize this is a revolution. And here's the best part. I don't know what the hell it's called. And I don't even know what the revolution is about. The first thing, we start off with this premise, and that is whatever we're doing now, we don't want it. I don't know what it is, but that's it. It's like you've been, I don't know, you've had your school cafeteria and they serve the same thing. And finally you say, you know what? I've had it. What do you want? I don't know, but it ain't that. That ain't it. I can't stand this. Whatever it is, I don't want it. That's where we are. Whatever you've got it, I don't want it. It's like, was it Groucho Marx says, whatever, whatever you are for, whatever you want, I'm against it, or whatever it is. That's who we are. And I want to be your ringleader. I want to take you to this. I want you to do this. I want you to do this your own spiritual exploration. And I want you to use these pole stars, these two bellwethers, so to speak, of people who are telling you, break away and form your own hybrid. Start thinking about what you want, what you believe in. And if anybody believes it, great. If not, fine. But please, no litmus test. Don't sit there and say, well, I kind of like what Candace said, but I don't like what she said. No, 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 no. You just say, okay, fair enough, and move on. That's all. Fair enough, and move on. Let me give you a little bit of something. This is one of these things. The other day, I don't know how we got into this subject, but we have a young friend who was talking about having some problems with his lady friend. And somebody was asking questions about relationships. And I said, first rule is, this is a great phrase I heard years ago, the secret to a happy marriage is still a secret. We don't know what works, what doesn't work. We don't know. If it works, don't ask any questions. If it doesn't work, what are you going to do? Who knows? Everybody thinks, well, it's the problem. What you do is you see it's a commitment. No, 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 no. One of the biggest myths is this idea of communication. It's communication. I want to talk. Know when to keep your mouth shut. Nobody wants to hear everything you think about everything. Whoever started that bullshit is single. Nobody wants to hear everything you say. It's about sometimes keeping your mouth shut, realizing you love somebody, and then saying, I'm not going to share every little thing about it. You may not like their family. You may not like whatever it is. You just keep your mouth shut. You got to know when to shut the fuck up and just, pick the hill you want to die on. So what I'm saying with this is, I don't know if everybody can satisfy all of my categories. I don't know if somebody will come along and say, well, I don't like what they say about abortion. Would you shut up? Abortion. You're not going to have to deal with any abortions. Don't worry. We are right now in the midst of a couple of things which are very, very critical. Probably more than anything else. One of the biggest things that I think most people should be thinking of, especially if you're Christian, at least if you're actually one, is to realize how we are killing people in the name of I don't know what. It's that simple. So that's the first part. So that's Tucker. Now comes this Candace thing. And Candace has made more people aware of research, focus, the criminal justice system, the Constitution. We had this feller today. What's his name? Jack. If Jack helped you off a horse, would you help Jack off a horse? Think about that. And he's one of these people. I said, tell me somebody who believes that Tyler Robinson really did it. And it was so great. It was almost like, you can't be serious. Because there really is nothing. And it's always good to talk to people who don't necessarily agree with what you're saying. Does that make sense to you? You got to find out from people that look, how do I say this? That may not agree with everything that you can. It's just like music. Sometimes I was listening to, so many things tonight. Molly Tuttle and Sierra Hull and just Del McCurry. And I was into this bluegrass mood tonight. And then sometimes I'll go on to that. We play a lot of Bill Evans around the homestead here. Love that. Now there's nothing, they have nothing in common. Lester Flatt and Earl Father Hines? No. But that's me. And that's what life is. It's about variation. It's about learning and getting as much as you can from everything, every aspect. And what's happening right now is I am profoundly saying, I don't want that. And President Trump, you're not running again, so this is moot. But I don't know what happened to you, my friend, but I don't recognize this. Sorry. I'm glad you're not running because I don't know what I do. But I will tell you this much. I will symbolically, I will waste my vote. I will do whatever you want to call it. And I will stand up and say that I want the idea of this alternative party to to win. And I like these people. I like these people. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Massey and Kenton, everybody said, wait a minute. This what I'll tell you what really was more responsible than anything else was the Epstein case. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, good for her. She was double-crossed, big time. It's one thing about Trump, and this is what people will say, and people who know him well. When you're on the outs, that's it. If he views what you're doing as betrayal, that's it. You're done. Look at Janine Pirro. Come on. I admire her for what she's doing. There's no reason this feller needs to be prosecuted for that stupid case. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. But look what he's done. He said, that's it. And also, who is it? Bobert or one of these other people? So here's the thing. It's important for us to come up, rise up, move up, grab the microphone and say, I don't know what you call my party. I don't know what you call this name. I may not have a name. Why do I have to name for this? Why do I have to have a name for this? Why? Would you call this bluegrass or folk or country or Americana? I don't know. Why do people need names? Now, is Tucker a conservative? Is he a Christian? And let me explain something to you, which is the most important. When I the word is not I disagree. The word is I don't share your idea. I don't share. You understand what I'm saying? I don't share it. I've heard people speak French. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't share it. There are people who are devoutly religious from a variety of types. I don't believe that. It's not that I disbelieve it. It's not that I'm saying it's wrong. I just don't share it. I don't understand it. That's okay. I don't care. Doesn't bother me. Yeah, but they're not. Well, fine. Have you seen this guy? What's his name? Mohammed El Sayed, the Egyptian from Michigan. Nobody understands what's going on. That's a revolution also. This Democratic Socialists of America business, DSA, these lefties, as you would call them, they're moving up. Now, you don't have to join them, but understand what's happening. Do you realize what's happening also? Cable news is dead. That news is dead. Those people are dead. Radio, music radio, who, with the exception of, I think, maybe urban, and Latin, Latino, huge. Sports radio is very big. Talk radio has got to make a tremendous move to say this isn't Rush Limbaugh. This is not 1988. The potential is huge. Huge. I promise you. If I came along and said, I'm going to program a radio station, people would go nuts. And I would have people on like you wouldn't believe. I might have a DSA. I might have somebody on who is a radical leftist. I could have the socialist hour. I guarantee you more people would listen than you can imagine. Because you would say, what do these people sound like? Think I'm kidding? Doesn't mean that I agree with it, but I'm going to hear it. Do you remember in the old days when, maybe you have this, one of the best radio stations, I told you WBGO is 88 or whatever it is. It's out of Newark. WBGO, best jazz station. They're wonderful. We have things like Fordham University or Columbia University. We had in Tampa WUSF, University of South Florida. They had the Underground Railroad with Brock Whaley. It was great. It was wow. It was fun. Remember when AOR music came out in the 70s when they played long form, they played longer. It was FM, but it was a different mood. It was a different sound. And we had a great, it's still there. It's a community radio in Tampa called WMNF. They would play. One time they had bluegrass, and there was a guy in the weekend, I forget his name, he played polka music. Polka. And they gave him his hour, and he had more polka. He knew the history of polka and the different. One guy was something, and the Polka Dots was the name of this group. I don't know. And one time, I shan't forget this. He was leaving. He was finishing his shift, and you always have the walk on where the guy from says, "Let's talk to our next guy. Jake, what do you got coming up with the news hour?" "Well, Bob, we've got a big fire," and they come on, and you form this transition. Well, here's this guy in his 70s. He's doing the polka hour, and this dude comes in. His name was Rat. That was his name, Rat. I don't know what he did. Thrash metal they played. He says, and now here's my good friend, Rat. We'll talk about the Thrash Blood Hour, whatever the hell the name of it, a tribute to G.G. Allen or God knows what. He says, well, Rat, what do you have? He says, thanks, Stan. Today we've got My Sister's Abortion, Mojo Nixon, Susie and the Banshees, and, okay, that sounds like a fine show. It's like Lawrence Welk, but that was it. Two people who had completely nothing in common, but they respected each other. And I listened. Because I thought, I don't know anything about polka. I don't know about this. And that's what we need to do. We need to go out there in the world and tell people, show people, get them, teach them. Don't turn them off, but tell them, especially when it comes to the Charlie case. I don't even know. We had is Jack, bless his heart? Is Jack is Jack? Remember poor Jack? Bless his heart. He goes, I think that Tyler is the DNA. It's like, oh, you poor guy. Oh, you poor guy. But it's important to teach people this. Wouldn't you love to go into a class to teach kids to say, can I explain to you this thing called the criminal justice system? Would you like to learn that? Can I explain that to you? How many of you really understand it? Probably not. A lot of people don't. They really don't get it. And it's sad. They should. One of my dreams, one of my crazy dreams. You know how they have bluegrass? You know how they have bluegrass festivals, Merle Fest, and they've got jazz festivals in New Orleans. Jazz festivals are big, and I think they had one up in Newport. A lot of different festivals. We should have a truth festival or whatever it is where parents bring their kids, and we have speakers, maybe Tucker, maybe Alex, maybe have somebody to say, I want you to hear something that you have to understand. Like I told you today, I hope you listened, what a conspiracy theory is. Where does that word come from? Where is this? This was part of a CIA memorandum. They didn't know this. Explain to people MK Ultra. Explain to them some really fascinating stuff they would really get a kick out of. Stuff they would really find interesting. MK Ultra, Operation Ajax, which is what got us involved in Iran, and Paperclip, and just go down the list. People would find it fascinating, absolutely fascinating. It would be something that people would, I think, people would love it. They would love the notion of what it was. Couldn't you see this? This is what we need to do, because are we explaining to people? No. Are we explaining this to people? No. You might be watching right now, and you might say to yourself, you know what? I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. I don't really know everything about this Tyler Robinson thing. Do you? And I know you're thinking this. You might be afraid to say it. You might say to yourself, is he really not guilty? Yes. Do you mean he's not guilty because you can't prove it, or is he not guilty because he didn't do it? He's not guilty because he didn't do it. So he's a patsy. He's a patsy. See, that changes everything. Let me ask you, how many of you believe, and this is important, and please do not, nobody point, nobody laugh, nobody say terrible things. How many of you believe, this is important, that Charlie was killed by kind of Tyler? Tyler may not have been front and center. He might not have been, there, but he was kind of involved in something. How many believe that? I know Anha. Hey, Anha, whatever it is, Anna. You believe that? That's fine. You made it very well. How many of you believe that? And that's okay. Nothing wrong with it. How many believe that this is important. And this is why I've got to hear this. I want to hear from people. It's like, well, tell me why you think so. And invariably, I know for a fact, and I know this, that you won't be able to convince people, but you might be sort of, see, this is important. Sometimes we get into these things where we believe things that are kind of strange. And we think we believe in things for reasons that are hard to put into words. Our good friend Agora says, I don't either. I didn't think this at first. By the way, thank you. I didn't think this at first. I didn't think he was guilty. I didn't know anything. I kind of have learned that whenever there is a sort of a, how do I say this? Whenever there is a person who is charged, a lot of times, believe it or not, there's something to be said. There's something there. There's a little something there. There's something to be said. There's something that's a part of it. It's not just all nutty and crazy and stupid and lunatic. And it's important to understand, well, how do we believe this? And I would venture to say that our dear friends here, and they're welcome here, the ones who believe in Charlie's guilt, are believing it for different reasons. And none of it has to do with actual guilt, no evidence, because there's no way. Because if you could tell me right now that you could be a juror and walk in and find him guilty, you're not reading the instructions, you don't have a weapon that's connected, you don't have anything. So it might be a reason for that that's a little different. I want to bring something to your attention. I got this for you. I was going to tell you about. Do you know what the Dunning-Kruger effect is? Look what it is, my friends. Johnny Lane, ladies and gentlemen. Johnny Lane says, being framed with 23andMe DNA evidence sounds like a dystopian possibility. Frame, yeah. I mean, you could be. I mean, they could take your blood and leave it at the evidence, or at the scene of the crime itself. Rose says, speaking truth isn't always pretty. Oh, you're right about that. Oh, I couldn't say that better myself. But the Dunning-Kruger, somebody says it's a Pittsburgh bank. I love this idea. It's a very, very simple effect. It means that people with limited knowledge, and might be limited knowledge about the facts of the case, about the trial, whatever. People with limited knowledge or ability in an area may dramatically overestimate their competence because they lack enough expertise to recognize their own deficiencies. Meaning, people may underestimate their own incompetence because they don't know what the hell they don't know. They don't know what they don't know. So consequently, they may overestimate their ability. They may say, I'm pretty good at this. Not really. Because you don't know enough to know what you don't know. This gets back to the epistemological part of it too. This gets back into the ontology and wonderful things about the whole notion of truth and how we know things. How do you know what you know? Then there's something else which is interesting, which is a lot of times we're seeing here in the Tyler case, confirmation bias, where we naturally notice information or things that we already believe while discounting evidence that challenges us. We tend to go for people who agree with us. And we tend to say, see, if you said, there was a study that said that eating raw meat is actually a better, really? See, I knew that. Why? Because maybe you just want raw meat. Maybe that's something you're looking for. So you would tend, it's very natural. It's not that this is not how do I say this? It's not that this is impossible or strange. It makes a lot of sense. I can understand why people do that. I can understand why people act like that. I really, really can. But there's some other great names too. How about cognitive dissonance? You've heard this before too. This is also why you believe certain things. This describes the feeling of discomfort that's created when facts collide with your beliefs. When you hear stuff that doesn't, say, instead of changing your belief, you will invent explanations protecting it. You don't like this. I don't like this. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this. I don't like this. So I will also create either new facts or I will go after you. I will go after you. I will find you to be a problem. I will mock you. I will make fun of you. I will question your intelligence, or I will say that doesn't make any sense. For example, I've told you this before. One of the best studies ever, one of the best studies I still find are people who, for reasons I don't know why, but there's this idea about olive oil is this thing that people swear is so good for you. They love it because who doesn't love olive oil? Isn't it great? Olive oil and garlic. Oh my God. Hot, crusty French bread or Italian bread or Cuban bread. Oh my God. Say, forget the butter. I don't want that. Give me this. Olive oil. Yeah. And then I'm saying, that's 100% fat. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this. Or people years ago would say things like, there's the French paradox. What's that? Well, the French live forever because they eat butter. What? Oh, yeah. It's the French paradox. Well, that's not what it is. So you will go towards that and you will dislike people who say, no, it's quite the opposite. Okay, what about this? How about the fundamental attribution error? It sounds kind of corny. This is where we explain somebody else's behavior as a character defect while explaining our own identical behavior through circumstances. He's reckless. I'm in a hurry. You know what I mean? He's reckless, but I was in a hurry. My accident was because I was so busy going to work and getting there on time but he's a damn fool. But I'm not like that. We will always change. I love the way we will change all of our worldviews and the like. Or another one? These I love the names of these. The availability heuristic. This makes dramatic, memorable events seem more common than they actually are. One horrifying airplane crash can feel more threatening than thousands of ordinary automobile deaths. I'll give you a perfect example of that. During all kinds of stuff during COVID, I was saying the number one cause of death in this country, number one cause of death is cardiac incidents. Many people who've never had anything in their life, no symptoms, no nothing, just drop dead. More than you can ever imagine. And it's a lot of it has to do with lifestyle and things that have nothing to do with, congenital defect. Nobody wants to hear that. No, and then they also make up something else. I don't know what you call this one, but I've heard this. Well, my grandfather smoked 5 packs of cigarettes a day. What does that mean? I don't know. I just bring that up. They just make stuff up. How about this? The sunk cost fallacy. The sunk cost fallacy keeps us pouring time and money and emotion into something because we've already invested so much time. Bad marriages, losing businesses, disastrous political policies or campaigns can all survive because nobody wants to admit the previous investment was wasted. Like, what? I can't give up. I got to keep fighting for this. And it makes sense. A lot of this has to do with human behavior, and that human behavior affects the way we process things. Groupthink. Groupthink occurs when maintaining harmony becomes more important than challenging a bad idea. We all think the same things. Don't get away from it. Don't get away from it. If you hang around with a bunch of friends at the VFW Lodge, don't get too crazy about, ideas of leftism or no. Understand where you are. Pluralistic ignorance. There you go. This happens when almost everybody privately disagrees with something, but assumes everybody else supports it, so nobody says anything. I think it's bullshit, but I'm not going to say anything. Well, what if everybody thinks bullshit? You think? No. Really? No. Really? Don't know. How about this? Reactance. Reactance. Reactance explains why people sometimes want something more intensely simply because somebody tells them they can't have it. That's me. Tell me I can't believe in something, and I believe in it. Tell me, challenge me, I'm there. That's me. I plead guilty. The spotlight effect. It makes us imagine other people are paying far more attention to our mistakes and appearance than they actually are. That's one of the reasons why people are so afraid of speaking in public. How many of you wonderful people are terrified of giving a speech? How many? You can't imagine that. Oh, no. How many of you would like to go and do your own show? No. Do this? No. Why? What are you afraid of? Because you think people care about what you do, about if you're bad or not. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But in your mind, you're so freaked out, you think, oh my God, what if I act like a goddamn fool? Well, so what? It doesn't matter. In the least, it doesn't matter. You understand what I'm saying? Let me see. In fact, Agaran says, it would cost me a lot of money to explain why. In short, I'll say he started saying truth, which unfortunately it cost himself his life. I think we're talking about Charlie, I would imagine. Thank you for that. Look at this. Member for 3 months. I hope TPUSA loses all donors, all we may get. That's true. And Rose, by the way, look at this. Bless her heart. Rosie Kissels, that is, says, hopefully this super chat goes through because I tried doing a bigger amount and they said no. What? Those bastards. It came right through, young lady. Thank you so much for your kindness. I appreciate that. CJ Claire, or CJ Lars, forgive me, my little laptop screen here, says, how Gigi Allen never appeared on Lars Welch show, I'll never know. Gigi Allen used to throw his human excrement at the crowd. That's my kind of guy. Bring the grandparents for that one. How about another one? You ready for this? Motivated reasoning. Motivated reasoning may explain half the internet. Instead of asking what is true, we unconsciously ask what reasoning gets me to the conclusion I already want. See, that's the whole story. That is and this is what you've got to understand. And one thing, remember, when you're talking to somebody and you're trying to convince them of the truth, always disarm them. Do everything in your power to make them think that for example, I understand that. And always throw this around. That makes sense to me. Repeat what they've said in a way that sounds like, oh, and it will disarm them. And then you go around and say, yeah, but that's not true. Wait a minute, what? Yes. You see, the problem that you're having is, how can all these people be wrong? I mean, you don't think that the people, the prosecutor in Utah, everybody else, is some kind of a subversive, some type of conspirator, some co-conspirator to try to blame Charlie because they're sick bastards who, yes, that's precisely what I'm saying. Yeah, but you don't think that, do you? Yeah. yeah, I do. See, this is the part that Let me ask you something. This may be something that might be of interest to you, and I think it is. What was the event? And we always I ask it to the point where I know it sounds so boring, but what was the event that you saw and you couldn't believe that people actually believed it? Or that, am I crazy? How did, like in the old days, how did you think that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone? Yeah. You're serious? Yeah. Okay. Well, have you ever thought, now this is a tough question, especially if you're a person of faith. Have you ever heard somebody who says, well, this morning, God told me to do this, and you think, oh, okay. Well, I believe in God, and I think God does speak to us, and I don't know. Oh, well, have you ever had that happen before? You ever think, I don't know about that. Sometimes people will say, well, I'm psychic. And I'll say, oh, okay, because I believe there's something to this. I believe there are some people who are psychic. Who these people are, I don't know. Who's full of shit, I don't know. But there are people, just like people who have antennae. If I didn't have a radio antenna, I'd swear there was no radio. They're connected. Okay. But then there are other people I've met who are completely full of shit. I mean, they are just profoundly they are just, I mean, they're into the whole thing. I'm thinking, they hear, they channel, they see what I'm saying? You can believe, yes, there is a God, but I don't believe this. I don't believe God stopped and told you this morning, don't go to work. I think God's a little busy, but it could be, but you don't really buy it. Just like there are people who say sometimes that I believe certainly that there have been critters or life forms, EBEs, extraterrestrial biological entities, that have indeed landed here, but I don't believe everybody who claims they have seen one. Iron Crescent says some people simply can't handle the truth. Where have I heard that? They'd rather continue believing the lies and admit that they've been duped or that their government is evil. Oh, yes. Thank you very much. Who was it? Mark Twain, who says it's easier to fool people than convince people they've been fooled, or something along those lines. Oh, I love talking to people about the truth. I love people. Let me give you an example of this. When I have a friend of mine who is a big Nelson Mandela fan. And when he talked about Nelson Mandela, he thought that he was a great guy, terrific. I say, wonderful. I asked him, I said, do you know what Hamas, you know that Hamas was formed actually this was during the old days of Ariel Sharon, from Israel, created Hamas. I know people don't want to hear this. And that Hezbollah are basically like a version of the ANC. They're a response to the Lebanese. They're not these crazy people. At least that's what they say. They say, no, we're a response. So I've got a friend of mine who says, don't you dare compare Nelson Mandela with Hezbollah. I say, well, that's exactly what it is. No, it's not. See? It's a worldview they don't particularly care for. Cami Roundtree says, Lionel, I so appreciate your content. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Cami. It's a beautiful person. Thank you. And I so appreciate you so appreciating me. See, I understand why people think this. I understand. You can do this all the time. You can look and you can see why people believe. You see, the thing that you have to understand more than anything else, the hardest part, is to explain to people why specifically they believe what they believe, even though every part of them is saying no. I know that's difficult to do. Have you ever been involved, I don't want to ask you your business, in a relationship where you said, this is going to work? You romanticized about this person. You realize this is nuts. This person's crazy. It's not going to work. But you want it so badly for this to work, so much that you said, no, we're going to work it out. She loves me. He loves me, whatever the phrase is. Everybody else would say to you, dude, as the kids say, you're out of your mind. This person's nuts. No, they're not. You don't understand. You don't understand. See, that's, I've heard people say to me that they believe in heaven because they can't believe in not believing in heaven. I said, wow. I said, okay, it's up to you, but you believe in something because it's better to believe in something than not to believe in something. So you're artificially believing in something? You don't intuitively believe this is true? Yeah. I say, okay. Listen, it's look. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And there are people, we need them. There are folks. Let me ask you something. Have you believed in something where nobody, you're like the only one who either believed it or didn't believe it? And you don't even want to tell people this. I'll tell you what, you're going to laugh at this because I've never been a Beatles fan. Now, you may laugh at that. Do you know the heresy that I have been convinced of? If I say, I don't like the Beatles, I like Wings better. You what? Yeah. I asked some boy, I did a show one time. I said, tell me something that you don't, that you believe that is so contrary. And this caller said, okay, I'll say it. I don't like The Godfather. I said, you are out of your mind. He said, you just told me to. Yeah, I know I said that, but I made it my mind. I'm crazy. You don't like The Godfather? Yeah. Another friend of mine says, I don't like the movie Fargo. And in the old days, I don't like The Clash, because you had to love The Clash. There are these things where you're told you've got to like this. You've got to think they're so great. You've got to. And you have to say these things. You have to love these people. I have never listened to a full radio show other than Alex Jones. I know it's not a radio, I mean it's a platform, but I've never listened to Rush Limbaugh, never listened to, and I've been in radio since 88. Tactically. I never heard anybody I really liked. It's not that I don't like radio. I just never hear a lot of people I really want to hear for 3 hours or 2 hours. I just don't. Nobody. The people that I want to hear, they're not on the radio or whatever. And I can't figure out what's going on. I caught more grief from liking Trump because I saw a real talent this man had. Trump had a talent. Trump had an absolute talent that people did not want to hear about. And I know what I'm saying was true. And I lost so much. You have no idea. And of course, as I told you before, if you really want me to, if you really want me to drop Trump, whatever that means, don't tell me that I can't listen to him or that I'm whatever. Don't tell me that. If you tell me that I can't listen, that I am somehow, what am I saying? That I cannot follow this, I swear to you, I'll be there like you can't believe. It's my nature. But I lost more people. And it made me more and more, how do we say this? It makes me more and more determined to believe what I'm saying. Oh, by the way, those same people, I will say to them, I don't like our foreign policy. Oh, so you don't like Trump? I said, no, I don't like this policy. It's not a matter of not liking him. You see how people, see how it is? I'm always defining things too. And this also drives people crazy. I'm also saying, well, no, that's not it. I'm not saying it's not Trump as much as, huh? No, it's what Trump says. I don't dislike people. I don't hate people. Oh, I don't hate Hillary Clinton. I never hated Barack Obama. I don't hate people. I swear to God, if I said, you know, if Jesus showed up and I said, hey, how you doing? Fine. And if Jesus said, tell me something that I would like, I said, well, all right, I'll tell you. I don't hate people. I think Jesus will have that. By the way, did you hear the story where these three guys were in a bar? And Jesus walks into the bar, sits it goes to the end. One guy says, don't look now, but is that how I, don't look. Is that how I think it is? Don't look now. Okay, I'll tell you when. Okay, now look. They look over. Oh my God. Is that who? That's Jesus. That's Jesus. Here? Yeah, he says, what do we do? He said, I don't know about you, but I'm going to send him a drink. So he tells the bartender, send my Lord Jesus a drink on me. So he looks down at Jesus like this, and he goes, hey, here's to you, Padre, or whatever it is. The second guy says, well, I got to do the same thing too. And he sends a drink, and the third one says, well, yeah. So anyway, Jesus finishes up and walks out and says, I want to thank you, gentlemen, for your kindness. He says, Jesus, all the same to you. Thank you so much for all the great work you've done. And Jesus said, by the way, can I say something to you? He says, I notice you've got your arm in a sling. He says, yeah, I know. I got carpal tunnel. I got the surgery next week and I'm using this. And Jesus says, do you mind? He says, mind what? Jesus touches his arm. And he's cured. He says, oh my God, thank you. And he says, sir, I couldn't help but notice you have a bit of a limp. He says, I know, gouged. And there he goes, do you mind? He says, sure. So he touches his knee or whatever. He goes, oh my God, thank you. So he says, and you, sir, I couldn't help but notice your cervical collar. You've been in an accident. And he walks over and he tells Jesus, don't touch me. I'm on disability. Now, don't you think Jesus would get a kick out of this? But I would tell Jesus, I don't hate anybody. Even serial killers, I don't hate them. I want them removed, but I don't hate. Hate contaminates my soul. It wastes my time. I don't hate. I don't get jealous. I don't get envious. Do you get jealous? Be honest with me. Be honest with me. Do you get jealous? Are there people that you say, look at her, look at him? Do you? Come on. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. A little bit you, a little bit you. Yeah. And if you do a little bit, okay, maybe envy is better than jealousy, but I'm unable to do it because the thing is, I don't care. But what I'd like to do, I'd like to say, you know what? I'd like to do that, but I'm not able to convey and to extrapolate the feeling into something directed towards this person. So anyway, so I'm really poor at this. I don't hate people. I'm terrible. I don't fit in. Hate and jealousy, rots your soul. You are correct. They also eat your soul. There are certain things that the stuff that really, really is important, your soul, whatever you want to call it, your soul, your internal dynamics, whatever you think, these things don't, they're so corrosive. And I know this for a fact. Absolutely. And I've seen this before. There are certain things where it's also not good to follow the trivial. And there are some people I know in life who it means so much for them to have objects, items, name brand stuff, labels, living in certain places, going certain places. This is their whole. And I'm not going to be able to change them. And I know, I've got other people here in New York, especially, who know people. Let me tell you something. Never meet your heroes. I've met A lot of people, just by virtue of radio, TV, stuff like that. You just meet them. They come in and you think to yourself, all right. And I realized so how they're not what you think. They're not what you think. How do I say this? They're just these people that just sort of, but I don't care about them. There's also something, what's very sad too? What steals the soul? Facebook, Instagram, but people will say, look at me. Look at me. Look at me. I'm having a tiramisu. That means lift me up in Italian. Did you know that? I'm eating this. I'm at a restaurant. So with my friends, love, 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 feel the love. Have you ever seen this one? Please forgive me. Think not of me, petty. People will be at the beach. They will be someplace and they will have a picture of their legs and their feet. And in the background, you'll see a beach or you'll see the water. And I'm thinking to myself, your feet look like they should be in a circus act. They're fetlocks, they're hooves. They should be in a barnyard somewhere. Not only that, bless your heart, by the angle, you've got thighs that look like Dick Butkus. And you've got these, it's like, what are you doing? Well, I'm going to show that I'm on the beach. I believe you. Well, I'm showing my feet. Why? Bunion, hammer-toed, just fetlocks, claws. Dear God, what are you doing? And when you get older, I'm sorry, friends. Listen, your feet take 25% of the bones of your body. They take all that years of this and that. Between this and all kinds of problems. Don't. Why do people do that? Because they've seen somebody else do it. And I always wonder, why are you doing that? Why? Should be in some kind of like a rodeo or something. What is this? But that's same thing with tattoos. So didn't mean to get off into the excursion, this discourse of the. What I want people to know is what we talked about initially was that Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson are a part of two tremendous, absolutely critical steps of this movement. It's a revolution. And I am so happy it's here. And what Candace is going to do is she has brought more people to the party because of people who feel something for Charlie or people who are just true crime people. And they're meeting some of the best true crime theorists there are. And by the way, if you are listening and you are of the belief that Tyler Robinson is guilty, you're demented. You're demented. And you have a screw loose, among others. But you're welcome here. And I respect you for that. And I don't hate you. I'm not going to ridicule you, even though you belong in a mental hospital. But I'm not, you can think what you want. As long as you're able to tell me that when you finally change your mind, and I know you have, I know you're saying that sometimes just for, you don't really think that. You're saying it because, like everybody else, you get a rise out of us. And I understand it. We've all done that. You don't really believe that on his own, changed his clothes 6-7 times. Come on, stop it. I'm not going to go through this again. But you're entitled to think that because this is America and you can think anything you want, no matter how insane it is. I say that in just. Get your corn. Corn season, my friend. I don't know where you are, but we've got them here. And remember, never shuck them, never buy them packaged. Buy it like this. 5 minutes. I like 5 minutes, depending on the size. 4, maybe 3. I don't know, whatever you want. Microwave them. Take them out. Be very careful. They're very hot. Cut them right here at the stalk, and squeeze the end, and they'll flop out with not a strand of silk. They are so beautiful. So beautiful. And you can do whatever you want to them. You can put anything you want on them, whatever you like. I love corn that tastes I love just the taste. Nothing. Just a little salt, whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Sometimes it's the essence. It's like the difference between acoustic guitar and electric. Big, big difference. Sometimes some things, I think watermelon. Watermelon is one of the gifts from God. Watermelon, cantaloupe, peaches, fruit, apples, peaches. My God. There's so much. You don't get the same thing with vegetables, potatoes. Okay, they're good, but you got to gonna do something to them. You know what I mean. But watermelon, you don't put anything on watermelon. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. And how this was associated with black people and racism is like, I love. Who doesn't like watermelon? Who doesn't like fried chicken and all this stuff associated? That's soul food. I don't eat it, but I love it. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? And everything else, peach cobbler and macaroni and cheese and see what I'm doing? I'm starving. I'm starving. I'm starving. I'm starry decisis. I'm starving right now. I'm in my blood sugar is down. I'm just going to keel over. By the way, fasting, intermittent fasting, not more, but I like a good, 36 hours. That's good. It does something to the soul. Also called hormesis. Hormesis. It puts your body in a little bit of stress. And it causes autophagy, where you eat your own fat. You eat off of yourself. Autophagy. Yes. Not too much. By the way, have you seen, ladies, I know you'll dig this. Have you seen these folks lately on this Ozempic look? Have you seen it? Isn't it just Olivia Wilde, Kelly Osbourne? Oh my God. They're just Ariana Grande. Oh my God. It's just, it's just incredible. It's just incredible. Somebody says something very nice right here. It said, I'm new to your channel. I like your wine. Oh, I love this. Cammy's from South Carolina. I love all soul food, Southern cooking, nothing better. Oh, absolutely. Grape Kool-Aid. Oh, I like that. I like the sound of that. I like the sound of that indeed. There's some, pineapples. Oh, wonderful. Pineapples. By the way, remember, people saying, is this diabetes? Not necessarily. Diabetes is insulin resistance. It's not what you think. It's not. It's a very complicated story. It's a very, very complicated story. But there are some people right now, this GLP-1 and this Wegovy and stuff like that. It's listen, you're going to see something about that. There's something about having there's something about having your food just stuck. It's like, hey, I'm feeling full. Really? Is that what you call it? Okay. Yeah, I'm feeling full. Like a rock. Like a rock. See, people don't want to talk about that. People don't want to talk about this. Okay? Can I tell you something? If I tell you something, will you listen to me? Want me to change your life? Maybe you know this. I don't want to go into detail because you can't handle it. You're not mature like me. I'm mature. Oh, right. That's right, me. And speaking of this, remember this one thing. Ladies, I know you don't want to talk about it because you're a little bit, tummy, you don't worry about this gut health problem. Are you, okay. I mean, I don't know. Remember this. Metamucil. Psyllium hydrophilic muciloid. Psyllium husk. Psyllium. I get cilia and cilia. Metamucil. Absolutely, positively, 100% change your life. Strata says, Maestro, watermelon slices with, bocconcino slices, olive oil, salt, and pepper. That's interesting. I love that. And I like the way sometimes people will throw salt. Have you ever had like a chocolate cake? Sprinkle good salt, the really good stuff, not the Morton's, but the really good finishing salt on that. You would think salt. Oh, yeah. You know what people also do? A lot of times when they're making cakes and things, put mayonnaise or mayonnaise. Maynaze. Mayonnaise. They put mayonnaise in it and they go, oh, no. What do you think that is? It's egg and it's an emulsion. What are you talking about? Or people who want to get rid of, who don't want to use eggs, will put applesauce. And there's all these little tricks. There's nothing. Don't ever explain to people why you like food, why certain things are. Everybody's got something that's different. Chocolates you might like. Luckily that's not one of my things, but you may love it. Everybody's got something sweet or salty or this and that. There's some things that are just. Don't ever think that you are supposed to not love a food. The problem sometimes is when you can eat for reasons that have nothing to do with eating. I don't want to go into it. It sounds like I'm lecturing. You know what I mean? There's some people who it's a lifelong struggle. And that's all. In any event, my friends, thank you. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your super chats tonight. I was feeling like, do you want to talk tonight? You were great. And I love talking to you like we do front porch talk. Ish Cammy Roundtree says, Lionel, your talent with the hand farts are the best. I think Miralax is essential. I have ulcerative colitis and it saves me. Oh, absolutely. Miralax, as you know, that is a stool softener. Hey. Oh, yeah. Nobody wants to talk about this stuff. That's nice to affect that. What is wonderful about the psyllium husk is it takes things and it makes them larger. So that your body says, oh, I know what this is. If I took a cucumber and I dipped it in olive oil, so here, squeeze it, and it flies out of your hand. See what I mean? Nobody wants to talk about this. But if ulcerative colitis, people who have, oh my God, IBS, lower GI problems, ulcerative colitis, colitis ileitis, you don't want that. Crohn's disease, oh my God. It's a lifelong, it's horror. And it's to be, so it can be. So listen, you don't have to explain that at all. By the way, my friends, remember also, make sure you get while we're on the subject, get your colon checked. A friend of mine just now found out he has colon cancer. It happens. Because the greatest thing in the world, when somebody says, what's the greatest invention of all time? Is it the mapping the genome? No, it's basically sticking a camera up your ass and taking pictures of it. That's something. That is incredible. So please check with your doctor. Sometimes you put them up for like 10 years. It's like, I don't know about that, but that's okay. That's okay. Nobody wants to talk about that. In any event, what a subject. See? Does Z and Carol go from watermelon to corn to gunshot ballistics to Crohn's disease and bulking stools? I don't think so. Because what I have, my friend, is a talent. It's a talent few have and few want. All right, my friends, don't forget, life is a lint brush. Until tomorrow, thank you so much. Please follow my wife, Mrs. L, at Lynn's Warriors. We appreciate your support more than anything else. Have a glorious Sunday. A glorious Sunday. We have a new week tomorrow. It's going to be better than ever. I thank you so much. We'll talk tomorrow. Please make sure you are subscribed. Please make sure you are always subscribed and that you like the video and that you hit that little button so you'll be a little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. Like us and subscribe. Like the video, like. Until then, my friends, I love you. I love you. Have a great day. And don't forget the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Dad.